Hi, my name's Akshaya.
I'm Joanne.
And I'm Tanisha. This is Behind the Screens.
And today's episode is
Change and cards.
Woo! I guess if we're going in chronological order, the first thing I can think of is changing schools when I was younger. I feel like I used to change schools a lot, and I took it pretty hard, but I think I've become more open-minded to change. It just kind of made me I was very sad about change, but I think I was okay with it. I remember when I left my school that I was in 3rd grade, and I literally was crying, but I was there for 1 year. And I didn't make any good friends, but I was still really upset about leaving. That's the first big thing I can think of.
I feel like for me, I also changed schools a bunch, especially in elementary school. But I feel because I was so young, it didn't really I didn't really understand what I was letting go or what I was leaving. So I think that's why I've definitely mentioned this in the college episode, but I feel that's why college hit me so much, because it's also I've been here for so long, and these friendships have lasted multiple years, and I've become a lot closer, that that's when I really started to feel that change, and that's when it really affected me.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really change schools a lot. I changed schools once in elementary school, but it was the same area, and it was just for a program, not because I moved or anything. So, and a lot of people, I don't remember if a lot of people were coming with me, but I think I definitely knew a couple people, so I felt I at least had familiar territory, if that makes sense. But I think that I didn't really change. Then when I changed, I guess the bigger change was I originally when I wait, I'm not making sense. Cut all my ums and uhs out just now. Okay, but then when I went to middle school, originally I was supposed to go to my local school, and we had moved in between, so I was supposed to go alone. So that's definitely when I thought that there was going to be change, but then I ended up going to a different school where I knew people. But I guess same thing, where I was just kind of scared to go somewhere alone because I didn't know anyone, so I was how am I going to make friends? And then that came true in high school, because I actually genuinely knew no one going to my high school except for one person who I was really close with. So I would definitely say my first year of high school, I was that's when I felt the most change, because I was put into this new environment that I didn't even really want to be in, but I was kind of taking a risk by going into it, I guess. So that's when I felt change for the first time, because I was up until now I've had people that I'm surrounded with that I I'm at least familiar with. Even if we weren't best friends, I at least knew them already from my previous school. But here I was genuinely just alone. So I remember the first semester and stuff, I was of 9th grade, I was definitely alone, and I would be kind of a nerd. But yeah, that's the first time I really felt it.
I think by that time, when we were in high school and we were going through that era of if the applying to programs and stuff, and we didn't know if we were going to go to the same school. By that point, I was kind of okay, change is cool and stuff, because now I've met a lot of different people and whatever. So I was a little bit more open-minded to it. By the time it was our high school freshman year, I think.
I guess that's how I felt when I came to college, because I experienced it all in high school, and I was change was actually a good thing. I got to meet all these new people. I got to meet all these new people, and everyone became friends with each other or whatever. So that I felt was a good thing once I got to college, and I was obviously still a little bit scared, because most of my a lot of my close friends weren't going with me, but I was a little bit more okay with it, and I was a little more confident in my friend making ability. That sounds really weird.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Wow.
I think especially with college and stuff, it not only affected our daily lives, basically just what we were doing and stuff, because obviously now we're going to class every day, we're in a whole new environment, we're meeting whole new people, but I think it also definitely changed relationships with other people, because also with college sometimes you'll find that you unexpectedly get close with other people, because they tend to keep in contact. but then at the same time it's also like you find yourself drifting away, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's more just like you happen to lose contact, you guys just happen to be busy. And like alongside that, I think college is just like a very pivotal moment in people's lives, because also when you're exposed to such a new environment, new experiences, and new people, it can just like change who you are as a person. You know, like when you're going through different things. I was gonna say like when you have like conflicts with people, but I think that just goes more into like when you meet people with different personalities, it definitely like, it will change who you are as a person, because also I feel like who you tend to spend your time with reflects who you are as a person, you know? So when you're with newer people, that'll tend like rub off on you, and like you'll start to be picking up like traits that they have, whether it's like, you know, different phrases that they say, or just like how they handle certain situations and like their mindsets. So I feel like especially now change is so important, because it's just so like prevalent. You're like, there's so many, like it's a huge change, but there's also so many different changes that are going on right now.
When you said friendships though, like the first thing that I thought of was like growing out of friendships, and like specifically that, because it's more just like change in like how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you're stopping the friendship because something specifically happened, but it's just like when things change in your life and in your like surroundings, then like you just happen to fall out of touch with people. And I think I've experienced that a couple times, and honestly, like more than like hurt or anything, I just feel a lot of nostalgia about it. Like I usually think about a couple friendships that I had, like for example, like in middle school, I don't know, like when it came to high school, like we just kind of didn't keep in touch very much, and like we tried to, but of course, like I don't know, you just start running out of things to talk about maybe, and like it was kind of just like you didn't realize it, but maybe during that time of your life, like you just had more things to discuss when you were together in the same place, whereas like when you're not really anymore, you're just like, not that you're different people, but it's just you kind of do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And after experiencing that a couple times, it just kind of like, I don't know, sometimes I think back about like the friendship or that era of life, and I'm like, wow, like that's so crazy that we were like so close but nothing really happened. Like it's just the fact that like
there was no beef.
Genuinely nothing happened, but we just like lost contact. But it was like such a nice friendship, but at the same time it was like a good friendship for that time of life.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that like all friendships are like going to live in one era of your life, because like I don't know, it depends on like maybe the people or like how close you really were. And yeah, it's not like shady or something, it's just times change, like I don't know. But it's like sad obviously, but what can you do?
Yeah, I think it's like, again, I feel like a lot of these changes will relate to each other, but like it's fully possible that you can just happen to grow out of a friendship and just stop being compatible with someone. And again, like that doesn't mean that there's any beef. It's just like, usually it's mainly just like, you know, something has changed, like whether it's personality or like stuff like that, especially when you're maturing. Like sometimes something will like seem pretty funny or like not that deep, but then when you look at it now, it's like, oh, like I didn't really like it that much, you know. It's stuff like that where it's like you can completely grow out of a friendship, especially when you're going through a very big change at the moment and you're trying to adjust and stuff like that. So it's like, I think one thing that's really important to remember is like there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Just because you guys aren't compatible now doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with either of you. There's no one to blame. It's just like an unfortunate situation, I would say, just because, you know, at the end of the day, this is just like someone you don't happen to be friends with anymore.
Yeah, also, I was gonna say, also, it's not always like that's something, well, you guys said it's not like there's beef or anything, but sometimes it's just like, I feel like you guys start liking different things or start going through different individual experiences in high school, and neither is like right or wrong or bad or good, but like, and there's like, obviously there's no objective right or wrong, but I think it's just like, because you start going through different things in like high school or whatever, like next phase, it gets harder to talk. Even if you want to talk, it just like naturally gets harder to talk. So it's not like it's anyone's fault. It's just like sometimes being physically apart does make you actually grow apart.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you are physically apart and like you run out of, like, quote unquote run out of things to talk about, you have to just put in extra effort. And like sometimes that like just doesn't happen on either side. It's not like someone's in the wrong.
Yeah, I think with that, like, growing apart doesn't mean like you like don't try anymore. It's just kind of like you both are in different places in life, maybe.
And it also can mean that you guys don't try, like, because like I feel like,
Well, mutually. I mean, like, if one
Yeah.
person doesn't try and the other person is trying, then it's like that's not growing apart.
Yeah.
That's a bad friend. But
yeah.
yeah, I think that leans into the whole aspect of like changing your environment and how that can like affect you as a person. I don't know. I just think like when you have so many other things, maybe it's like you don't relate as much anymore, or like you just don't really have as many things to talk about. And that's what I was saying. Like sometimes I didn't realize it, but there were people that I would talk to all the time at school. It's like how people have like school friends, you know, and like you see them all the time like during the school year, but then like you'd realize that you don't really text them during the summer or something because you just saw them so much, and like you'd think that they were a really good friend to you, and they probably were, but like
I didn't.
I'm back in the game.
Okay.
This game is never ending. So.
That's why I joined. I got bored.
I can deal you back in.
Yeah, we can just restart.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Let's see if you lose these, and then we'll deal you back in.
Oh, okay.
What was I even talking about? Yeah, having school friends. Just because, like, you don't even realize it, but you were just closer to them when you were together. Is that what you put?
Yeah, she lost them.
Wait, that's for your card?
That's
No,
my card.
I had a 10 last time.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, sometimes you, like, because you don't see someone anymore. It's like what Tanisha was saying. It's just a product of your environment. And also, like, because of that, some people do change, and growing apart can also mean that, like, your personalities just don't mesh. Like, maybe they just start validating things that you don't anymore, or, like, you just didn't in general, but you, like, didn't realize it, and maybe, like, I don't know. Like, not necessarily that they're a bad person, but they're just doing different things than what, like, you do. And I think growing up is, like, a really big indicator of that as you, like, start to do different experiences. Like, from middle school to high school, like, you're definitely changing a lot more as, like, you develop more interests and you, like, start joining more clubs and things like that. So it's just, like, you start to maybe, like, define your personality or your interests so much more that if you realize you don't mesh with people, then, like, you just don't, I guess.
I feel like, I think at the end of the day, like, a change in personality, I just feel like it doesn't really happen, like, randomly. It's always usually, like, a product of something. Like, it can be environment, or it can be relationship, it can be stuff like that. I just feel like you're always learning or experiencing something new, and that's what changes it. Like, you know, like, with college, I guess, like, first thing I'm thinking of is academics. I feel like since it's such an important, like, I feel like that this is, like, the most important time for your academics. So, like, that'll definitely probably change, like, your mindset towards how you treat classes. Or sometimes it can be the opposite. Like, I don't know. I know for me personally, I think I definitely, like, had a very, like, I don't know what the word is. It's just, like, I've been very involved in academics, and I feel like now in college I'm, like, even more involved because this will be very important in the future for me because I plan on, like, doing more school. But, like, for some people it can be the opposite. Just, like, they're more involved in their career than they are in, like, school because it doesn't matter as much. So I feel like that's just, like, one example of, like, how it can change your personality and how you view things. And even with relationships, it's like if you happen to have a falling out or, like, some sort of experience, it'll teach you, like, how to deal with that situation, or it'll give you more information. So I definitely don't think, like, and so, like, even with friendships, if you find that you guys are, like, growing distant, it's usually, like, especially in college, I feel like it's usually a product of something. It doesn't just, like, come out of nowhere.
I think what you were saying reminded me, yeah. It's just that, like, people's priorities change, not even just their personality, but, like, if they realize that some things that you guys were maybe spending more time in are, like, less of a priority in their life at this point, then that's also another reason why, like, things could change. But, yeah.
I feel like, how much should we go into environment?
Not that much. You can start now.
How would you guys say it's, like, influential towards you? Because I'm thinking about, like, how has being
This is yours, Jen.
Yeah.
I
on
think
campus changed me, but, like, not trying to relate that to other people, because then I feel like that goes into relationships and stuff.
Yeah, but I think environment, like, for example, like, I feel like I mentioned before, what I definitely mentioned that like in high school I was in a like different program, like magnet program or whatever. So like that being my environment, those people around me changed how I thought about school as well. So like it's not like I had relationships with every single person or anything, but like I just like those people thinking the way they did and like me being pushed into certain things or like just like that environment obviously made me care about school more. So I feel like in high school, for example, like I was a lot more like I was forced to prioritize academics, even if everyone else did or even if I didn't really want to. And like you can talk about this as well, but I think like that also probably affected you guys because then like when you start meeting people from like my school and like other people in the program, I feel like that maybe influenced you to also care more about academics. I'm speaking for you. You can speak.
No, I think that another thing to note is that like that wasn't something that you can be like, oh, like that changed in your life wasn't like you didn't have to, because like when it's not like you were just like caring about it in your head or something. It was like your school kind of expected that of you. It was like, and so that's something that you had to implement in your life.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was like the most like insane change because I had been in like a magnet program for like multiple years of my life, but I think it was still an interesting change because like the specific program I was in was definitely a bigger time commitment. Like we had more classes and stuff like that. Like our days were longer every day, so automatically that would make me be like I have to put more into school because like I have an extra class. So I feel like it was definitely forced, but I think like speaking on environment, like when I got into college, it's like a very like it's like a stereotype or whatever that like kids in the business school don't do real work, blah blah blah. So then I definitely started prioritizing school like less than I did before and prioritizing like what I kind of like what I wanted to more, not what like I was. I definitely started prioritizing like what I wanted to more than like what my school was forcing me to do because like the classes aren't like too bad in the business school in general and like I'm not really being forced to do anything. It's kind of my own thing. So I think like my priorities changed because of my environment because I like got to prioritize what I want to do and not what I was being.
I guess like when I was saying environment, I meant like in the literal sense, you know? Like I guess like moving to a city versus being in the suburbs.
Yeah,
do you think that
affect you too?
Yeah.
I think that also like that. Okay, well, the first thing I thought of was like when you're in a suburb, you kind of like
just finish it.
Want to move to a city.
Yeah, it's gonna go forever.
In a city, you want to move to a suburb. And I feel like a lot of people who want to go out of state want to just experience a different type of lifestyle. And for me, like moving out of a suburb into a city felt very much like, I don't know, like it was just something that I really wanted to do because I enjoyed having such easy access to new things to try and to do. And I really like utilized that my first semester when I would just kind of like walk to the lake or like walk, like I don't know, like college itself is a completely different experience in general because you have more access to a lot of things that you can do. And like, yeah, like I think being in a city, I don't know if that specifically is what changed me, but I would say that coming back home, it's made me feel not like restricted, but like different because it's not as easy access for me to do the same things that I was quickly able to do when I was like walkable distance from a city.
I think part of that is also being walkable distance and like living with your friends though. Like I think that I feel like when I wanted to go to college, I really wanted to go to the city, which I've like probably talked about before. But like me going to a state school and being like in a college town, quote unquote, like in the sense like that I can still walk to things and like try out things if I want to. Like obviously not as much as being in a city, but it was definitely more than like I expected. And I think part of that is just like you literally are just living on your own and with your friends. So it's like a 24/7 sleepover. Like you can do whatever you want. Like you literally have no like restrictions on you, and like you have no for all of us who live on campus. So obviously we have no like pressure to like, oh, we need to spend time with family. Like that doesn't exist. So like we're just, unless like I came home on the weekends, they have no like, they're definitely not gonna come home like often. So like I think it's just easier because you don't feel like this pressure to like I need to spend time with family. Like family time is like kind of assigned when you go home for breaks. So like I think that's like I don't know I guess like how much the like physical campus effects. Like obviously a city is different than suburban, but in like restriction sense, I feel like in general college is just like a lot less restricting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like more things to do in a city. But
I think maybe that's in that aspect, it's kind of like your interests might change a little bit. Like you might be more inclined to like stay out of the house when like after you go to college, just because like if you're constantly like in class or like doing something, I feel like people are usually never in their dorm during college, and so like when you come back home, that's like change in your mindset. I think a lot of people become more like not homebodies just because like you want to study outside of your dorm and you want to like go hang out with people, you want to be outside more. It's just like things that a lot of people experience when they go to college, and not like everybody has the exact same experience, but that's usually what it ends up being like, because especially when people don't have good experiences in their dorms, like you wouldn't want to really stay there anyway.
yeah, I think that also depends on the person though, because like some people definitely like I know like some people, and like I met new people who definitely like to be in their dorm and like to have that downtime. So like I think that also depends on like the type of person you are and you grow into, and I think that change comes from just like it's your first time living alone, so you discover what you want to do when you're on your own, like no one's telling you to do anything. So I think some people like being in their dorm, like just because it's like their free time, alone time. Yeah. I don't like personally, I don't like having alone time. Like I look like being around people the whole time. But yeah.
I think like in terms of environment for me, before going into college, I was like a big city person, and I also like learned to go in college in the city, and then I ended up somewhere that was complete opposite. But I think it definitely shaped some of my interests now, because it's like, because at first, like honestly, I didn't really like campus that much because of how isolated it was. But like at this point, and it's not just that I've grown to appreciate it, it's like I enjoy like being on campus, and part of the reason is definitely because, you know, I have the freedom, I can do whatever I want and I can explore. But I think it's also just like what being on that specific campus has to offer. Like it's like sparked my interest. Like I feel like I've definitely been more into nature, I guess, and like
into farming.
Yeah. Wait, I like honestly like like I find it interesting like seeing everything and like all like the different like not companies, but you know what I mean, like the different stuff that they have there, because it's also just completely different from how it is in Maryland. Because like we do have like farms and stuff, but it's just like the whole culture and everything like that is just completely different. So it's like interesting to see, and I think it's definitely like something I'm interested in, or like become interested in because of the campus.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't really want to go to a city, and I did end up like in the type of like farmland that Akshaya is in. But I definitely ended up in like a suburban like college town type area. So like, but like personally, that it like whenever I still take like 2-3 trips a semester to New York, and I still like it a lot more there, and like I don't think that part of me has changed, or like I haven't like I guess I've like grown to like deal with, sounds bad, but like deal with campus or like the type of area I'm in, because like I know that like I'm gonna be here for the next 4 years, but at the same time I'm like at peace with being here for the next 3 years if I like can, or you're done, next 3 years if I can like move to the city afterwards, hopefully. So like I think like I haven't grown to like it, but I think I've grown to understand how to like maximize it, because like I just like do what I can here, or like go to like DC because that's like metroable.
Oh yeah, I think that's something really important with change, is that like even if like it's not what you expected or something, like being able to maximize whatever like environment you're in, like doesn't have to change. Like I feel like everybody at some point will of course like things about their college. Like you're going to eventually get that pride in like your college, and you know the places that other people don't. Like there's fun things to do, and there's ways to make it fun, even if it's not like inherently fun. But the other thing I was thinking about was like how you were saying a lot of people like might realize about themselves that they don't really like to hang out inside all the time, or they do. I think for me it was the fact that like during the first half of first semester I didn't really know a lot of people. And so when I started to make friends, I was kind of just like around them all the time. And at first, like it was because I had no choice that I had to be alone, and I was like always in my dorm, and I just like, didn't really have any choice of that. But then like once you actually have a choice, I feel like you appreciate that alone time more. And I definitely did, but at the same time, it was like I was so far away from people that I like, of course, wanted to hang out with. So like, why wouldn't I hang out with them? That was just like my perspective about it, and I just like always wanted to hang around them as much as I could. But then, of course, like I really liked my alone time, and even at home, like I've always enjoyed like having a day off or like just spending time by myself because I feel like that helps me unwind. But when I didn't have a choice, I didn't like it. Like when I was just alone because I had to be, I didn't like it.
First semester, I was like with the same 2 or 3 people a lot, so I realized that like I didn't really I don't like ever like to be with the same 2 or 3 people. Like I want to also like it's yours. When you go into college, I feel like there's an expectation like, oh, I'm gonna meet all these new people, and I felt like because I went to my state school, that was really hard to do. But I feel like even when I like had the choice to be alone second semester, when I met new people and I could like choose if I wanted to be in my dorm or not, I feel like I was never trying to be alone. That's just like the type of person I've always been. I don't really think that changed. Like I think I was always trying to like peer pressure other people into coming out, even if they wanted to stay. But yeah, like I just don't think that part of me changed, and I definitely did not like the times I was alone first semester.
I have a question. Do you think that like, whoa,
What?
you guys both lived here at the same time?
This is never gonna end.
Do you think that like people who are like introverted can change that aspect of the personality and become an extrovert?
I think yeah, I think when you're put in a situation, because I also like, it goes into like fake it till you make it, where it's like if you act like it, then eventually like you'll actually start believing it. And so I feel like if you're originally shy, you can eventually just like become more outgoing, because once you've been put, or I guess like I'm speaking from experience, like I wouldn't say I'm like extroverted, but I've definitely become more outgoing. But like I think when you're like put in a situation where you sort of have to be outgoing to like make new friends, like with college for example, you slowly start to realize like, oh my god, like this isn't that bad, you know. And then like you'll find yourself going out of your way to do it. I don't think it happens to everyone, but like I feel like it's not uncommon, just because it's like once you go out of like your comfort zone and like do something that you originally didn't want to do, like once you realize that it's not that bad, you'll just naturally start doing it.
Because I think that you don't. Because I think like I definitely agree, like since going to college, I've had to come out of my shell a little bit more. Like I think I'm better at having conversations with people that I don't know, and I'm like trying to like, I don't know, like be a little bit more outgoing in that aspect. But I think that fundamentally I'm still an introverted person. Like I feel like an extrovert in the actual, I don't know if this is the actual definition, but like in the way that people describe extroverts, it's like their energy comes from being around more people, and they're like the way that they like interact is, I don't know, it's just like being around other people is something that they like constantly want to do. Whereas for me, it's like I really like doing it, and everybody has a social battery, like even extroverts. But it's just like I think that fundamentally, like that's still the person I am. That I am an introvert, but like I still am outgoing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think low-key, now that you said that, it's like, I guess I agree, because I don't know anyone that has changed in our friend group, like, from introvert to extrovert, because I feel like you guys probably started hanging out with more people in college, because you kind of, like, what I was saying earlier, like, you're kind of forced to hang out more, because you have nothing else to do other than, like, study, but, like, you can study with your friends, you know what I mean? So then, I feel like maybe you guys have started hanging out with more people, but I feel like your like fundamentals of being an introvert or extrovert haven't changed, and like everyone else that I can think of in our friend group, I don't think like that has changed. So I think like maybe it's possible if you like, I think that one scenario is possible is like you didn't really like the only way it's possible I think is if like you were an introvert because you didn't really like have the correct friends, like you and your friends' personalities didn't mesh in high school, and then you found your people in college, then I feel like that could make you extroverted because you like found the people that you actually enjoy. But I don't think that's like the case for anyone that I know.
But I think even if you don't find people that you have, you can still be an extrovert.
Mm-hmm. What'd you just say?
Like you were saying, like if you don't mesh well with people,
yeah,
it could just be that like you're still outgoing, you just like didn't find the right people, you know?
Yeah, but I feel like it's kind of hard to like, why would you want to be outgoing if you don't like the people that are in your like high school? Like why would you want to?
It's just like who you are, you know? Like you just like happen to like go up, like you just are that way where you make conversation with a lot of people. It's not like you're thinking about it. It's just like
yeah, but like
us type
I
person
just
who
feel
are
like it's hard to get energy from the people if you don't like the people.
Yeah, but
So,
I
like,
still
that's
think
what I'm
like,
saying.
but it's not just like the people like how you were saying like maybe I hang out with like more people, but I think more than that, it's like the way that I go about people I don't know. Like that's what I mean by introvert versus extrovert.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you were like in an environment where you just knew that these people weren't like some people just go to high schools where like they're like alone or like the people around them just aren't like them at all. So then why would they try to interact with people they don't know? Like they're just not in the right place to be an extrovert. I feel.
Yeah, I feel like introvert and extrovert is more like how you would interact when you're in a situation where like you don't really know people.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're in a because I feel like especially like I guess for me it's like when I meet most people I'm not exactly like the most extroverted. Like I usually like keep to myself and I'm pretty quiet. But then once I get to know more people, that's when I start to like get more comfortable and like say more things. But I think like even though when I'm with people I know I'm not as introverted, like at the end of the day, like with most people like who aren't my friends, I would be more introverted.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking, like basically like after what you were saying, like I'm thinking of yeah, like you might just not like talk to anyone at your school, but that doesn't mean you're like different. If you're outside of school, you still approach people the same way that you would have.
Yeah, but like I think high school, like I think when people go to college because they have less restrictions on them and there's just like thousands more people in college, I think it's like people can become more extroverted. I don't think it's common. I'm just saying I feel like people can become more extroverted and like because they're around so many more people, they can be like, oh, like let me actually try to talk to more people. And I guess like it like I'm saying this because like I was always more extroverted, but like in high school I never like I think I was a lot more like.
But you were still an extrovert.
Yeah, but I would not with like people I don't know. Like now I think I'm different with people I don't know.
But you were still an extrovert. It's just like you were different.
Yeah, but how are you saying I'm an extrovert? Because I wasn't even talking to people I don't know in high school. Like I was so anxious in high school. I didn't talk to people I didn't know. And like for example, like actually I don't know what I was gonna say, but like I'm just saying like how like you're saying I'm an extrovert because like you know how I was outside of school. But like in school I feel like I have become like more of an extrovert when I went to college. And I think it's possible to become less of an extrovert or like more introverted and stuff like that. So I'm saying
you like would you say that you were introverted?
I think that people at my school probably thought I was introverted. I think you guys thought that way because you knew me outside of school. But anyone who knew me in school, but like it's not about what I say, it's about how people perceive me.
No, it's not.
But how would I know what I am, but people I don't know are the ones who see me from the outside. Like I'm
being an introvert is not something people can say about you.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, I don't think that I was extroverted with people I don't know in high school. If you're going based on that basis. Like if you're saying like I wouldn't think I'm extroverted with people I don't know in high school. Yeah, but I think like being in college because I wanted to make more friends and also just because there were so many more people and also because these people didn't have like a preconceived notion of me, I became more extroverted.
Right.
But I don't think I was
like before high school you weren't an introvert either, right? Or were you? I
don't remember how it was going on.
I feel like I wouldn't have described you as an introvert, and like maybe you got less extroverted in high school, and like you wouldn't see yourself as being someone who like does this extroverted stuff in high school. But I would say like you got less, and then you got more, rather than like you were introverted and then you were extroverted. Do you know what I mean? But like maybe not.
I guess but I'm saying like that can happen at a bigger scale to people. Also, so I feel like people can go from being introverted to extroverted just because of like their environment. Yeah, that was a really long discussion. I just thought of the question.
Because I feel like in college, I've gotten better at like doing that, and because I have my alone time, like I feel like I'm less inclined to wear at my social battery more. So like people might not like people are going to be surprised that I'm an introvert, but like people might not like realize that about me within like first knowing me. But like obviously there are people who are like way more extroverted than I am and all this stuff, like whatever. But I've definitely like become a little bit less introverted since going to college. Like something that someone said about me is that I'm an introvert with like extroverted tendencies or like habits. But like as a person, like I still am an introvert because that like I don't thrive off of like being in situations with a lot of other people I don't really know.
Especially what an ambivert is. Because like what would the difference be like being one and having other tendencies and just like being in the middle?
What does it say?
Also, we should reshuffle. Or this game is never ending.
When she's done.
They draw on traits from both ends. Talking, they have a natural balance between talking and listening.
I low-key feel like you can't be that at the core. I feel like you're one or the other at the core.
I don't think introverts exist.
No, like I do, but I feel like you're 51% more. Like you're 51% something.
What does it say?
Okay, this makes sense. Introverts recharge alone. Extroverts recharge via socializing.
Yeah.
Ambiverts are flexible,
Like
enjoying social situations, but needing quiet time to recharge. So it's
That's
like
an
literally
introvert.
like,
introvert with extrovert tendencies.
I don't know, like maybe that's what an ambivert is.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
that's not a real thing.
But can you not be an extrovert with introvert
Yeah,
tendencies?
you can. That's why I'm saying none of this is
Because
real.
like there's people who are not like obviously every single person has a like social battery. So
Yeah.
just because you're an extrovert doesn't mean that you're not gonna want alone time
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying, like, I think that it doesn't exist because I feel like you guys are saying introvert with extrovert tendencies or extrovert.
But
So
that
what
could
about
be
you?
ambivert instead of like that. You know?
But like you're one or the other. You see
And
how
that's
there's
what we
no-
were talking about, how like you change based on stuff. So like you can't really say that like I'm an ambivert now because sometimes I can be leaning more one way than the other.
I think most of the time you're leaning forward.
Yeah.
Like not you, like anyone.
I guess like one thing I thought of was like real quick the change coming back home, like what it's like to go from being in college for like almost 10 months to being at home all of a sudden. And the way I would describe it is that it kind of just like you kind of like snap back into it, I guess, like especially if you've kind of maintained friendships or like your schedule goes back to the similar way it was, then you just kind of like ease back into your normal life. And sometimes it's really weird, especially because you're just constantly around like people during college. And then like when you're at home, you're just like, it's very different. I think you spend a lot more time alone. So that change is like bigger because like you feel, especially for summer break, like you feel it differently when if you like are not doing very much during the summer, but just
Yeah.
it depends.
I think that like has low-key affected me because I've been like, oh, I low-key want to go back to college just because I like doing something constant and I like being around someone constant. So like that's one reason that I've been like, I want to go back because like I guess like I think that even though I didn't want to be in state, one thing that was like good about being in state was I felt like I had a good balance of still seeing my family. So like although I have like obviously I want to still spend time with my family, I also like went on like a 1 month trip with them just now and like I feel like I want to hang out, but not everyone is always available to hang out or like there's like transportation issues or XYZ. So like I think it's just like it being so hard to hang out is making me want to go back to college, even though like I miss hanging out with these people here. I just like wish that it was a little bit easier to hang out.
I think since I'm like working this summer, I am like doing something every day for most of the day, but I feel like honestly in terms of free time, or not even free time, like I think yeah, it goes into like spending time with other people. I definitely have a lot less because my schedule is so like strict and stuff. And also even when I'm in college, like yes, my days are shorter, but you'll still have work outside of it. But I think like I can still do that work while with other people. So I think like in terms of free time, in general, like my free time now is definitely less. And I think I am definitely missing college, like just because of like having that like freedom and like the whole like how it feels like being there. I'm definitely a lot more independent, but I think like I also appreciate like having time at home because I'm also not like worrying about assignments or classes and stuff like that.
I think one thing is like even though like I would say like even though you're working, obviously like you have to work from like 9 to 5 or whatever, but I feel like it's just like what makes me like miss college is like okay. What makes me miss college is just like low-key like that thing that you were saying about working with people. Like it's just so difficult to do that here because like either people have transportation issues or like whatever. Like and it's not like their reasons are invalid. It just like makes me sad because I'm like, oh, I literally wanted it to be summer because I wanted to spend time with these people, and it's like so hard to do that. So
It's you both have ACE, but I mean you could just take it.
Oh, I can?
Just take it.
okay. So that's like what makes me sad that I just like can't like part of spending time with friends in college was just like working with them because you would like work and chat. But you can't really do that at home because like obviously your parents want to spend time with you. You don't have like transportation or whatever.
I was thinking of was that it's just mainly like a lifestyle difference, and it's not that like I definitely missed home, missed my family, like missed my friends here, but like if I had all of these things with the same lifestyle I had there, then it's just like like you know. So like
Yeah, wait, what I was gonna say is I think that will come true in like a year or 2 or 3. Like eventually I think it'll be easier to, because also another thing right now is like I feel like it's like I feel like you're, since it's our first summer back, I feel like it's still very like, oh, like you're still like, I don't know, I feel like everyone has a lot of pressure to still spend time at home and still feels like they like their parents are like pretty strict with them on like spending time or like having a curfew or like whatever. But the more you like grow older and like become an adult, I think there will be less like restrictions placed on you even at home. But it'll also like be a different thing because then more people will be working. But
and people might not even be here.
Yeah, but if people like, I feel like you'll still have some people with you where you're working, because I feel like there's major cities that people usually work in. I feel like if, for example, if like someone was in a, for example, like if I was in a city nearby to someone who was working in a different city, we could just meet up because like, first of all, I'm earning money, so my parents aren't going to stop me. You know what I mean? But like here, like even if like for example, one of our friends is working in DC, but like what I like met up with them like once, because like how am I just supposed to tell my parents like, oh, I'm going to DC to see my friend? Like they're gonna be like, why are you like doing that so often and spending money on that? Like what? Like you know what I mean? Like it's not like if I just can't do it as much as I would want to, because right now my life is still split between like my family and my friends. But if I was just interning in like said city, then like I wouldn't be able to see my family anyway, so I would see who's close to me. I don't know if this is making sense.
That makes sense. I think every year is going to come with its different like challenges and changes, especially like if you end up working somewhere else or how much you end up working or whatever you're doing. So
I think also with having a job though, even though like you're not in the same place, again like you have like, I think financial freedom is definitely a really big thing, because it's like there are less barriers, you know, like as you get older, because now it's no longer you need to ask for permission and spend money. You can spend the money on your own, you know, because it's yours, you know.
Yeah.
And like another thing is, even if you are in another city, at the end of the day, like if you really wanted to, you don't have to ask for permission to come back. Like what are they gonna do? Like not let you in the home? Like but that's like you can come back and do that and not have to worry about money or like time and stuff other than like your job.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like you basically have every weekend free, and I feel like I know so many like maybe some sophomores, but just mostly juniors and like people who have graduated who are like making trips to see their friends like every other weekend, because that's what they spend their money on. Like that's what your like 20s, that's what you spend your 20s doing, and then later obviously like do more adult things. But anyways, like I just feel like it's like so much easier once you start making your own money too. Like not just like side like part-time job money, but like when you have an internship or like a full-time job, you know that you can like sustain mostly anything you want to do, because at the end of the day, like it really usually is just about money, because it's just like a flight to go see your friends, but it's just like the money and the permission part. But you obviously like don't really need to ask for permission at that point. But yeah, so I feel like you can really see the people that you want to see and that you care about seeing, and I feel like that's like another thing that will like be kind of changed, because you won't just be like hanging out with people because they're close to you. You'll also like only see the people that are really of value to you or like important to you, because you're spending money on seeing them, if that makes sense. And you'll see if it's like and you'll see if it's like two-way and everything, because like they'll also have to come to see you. Anyways, yes.
I think overall though, I would say like change is a good thing, and it's especially important to be like, as much as it like hurts to go through a lot of change, it's very important to be open-minded with change, because like you yourself can grow so much as a person, and like when you look back at it, I feel like in every situation there's going to be something where you can say, okay, like this change benefited me even slightly like in this way in my life. So
I was gonna say the same thing. It's just like, even if you feel like it's negative, just like look like glass half full, like try to find something to be optimistic about. Because also like I feel like especially with college, because it's just like such a big change, like this is why like I have so many examples about it. But like even if you find that you're not really liking your experience right now, or like you're homesick, you want to go home, like the best thing you can do when this is like your situation is just to like find something to be positive about. Because if you spend your entire time just
Yeah.
like being unhappy, you know, like what's the point? Like you're like wasting your time because you have so many different opportunities that you could do, and like you're just wasting it by like being upset, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys, thanks for watching.
Comment down below some change you've been through.
Oh. Follow us
And how it's helped you.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Subscribe.
At Behind the Screens _ podcast.
Yeah. Period. Bye bye. Love you.